Informed, outspoken, wild, fearless. This is the Fantasy Football Dudes Podcast.
What is up, my dudes? This is Seth with the Fantasy Football Dudes Podcast. This is about my fifth take. I've hated every other single take, so bear with me here. I'm getting better as I keep deleting videos and keep going. I don't know why I said my intro like Trent says his intro. I always make fun of him for saying, "What's up, my dudes?" But I can't think of anything else better. So maybe I'm the idiot and Trent's the smart guy. But yeah, this is my first time doing something like this by myself on a podcast. I've never done anything this weird, talking to a screen by myself. Definitely weird feeling, talking to yourself and trying to think of the next thing to say. Maybe Trent's better at it because he's just a monologuer and he likes talking to himself. He's good at talking to walls. So maybe that's why Trent's good at this. I'm not good at talking to walls. I like to talk to people, but I think I have some useful information that maybe some people don't know about or maybe want to hear more about. But in this solo ep, I'm talking about the Cowboys red zone offense and frankly, just how bad it's been compared to last year and how good they were last year in the red zone. And I'll just kind of be breaking down the problems, the reasons maybe why they haven't been the best in the red zone. Maybe um, probably don't have any resolutions for you, but I could probably tell you what will regress back to the mean. Not regress, will progress back to the mean, right? What's going to be elevated, how their red zone offense will get better as the year goes on. But if we want to break down, let's just break down the problems first, okay? Problem. Actually, let's not even break down problem. Let's go through the stats first, okay? Then we can explain why the stats are like this. Cowboys, 8 touchdowns total, okay? On the offense, 11 total, 8 on the offense, 3 on the defense, okay? Cowboys have 4 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 garbage time rushing touchdown in the fourth, okay? So really they have 3 rushing because that one in the fourth, it's garbage time. No one cares about it, okay? 7 of those touchdowns are in the red zone. 1 is outside of the red zone, which CeeDee Lamb just caught, I believe, in week 4 for a 20-plus yard receiving touchdown. The Cowboys kicker, Aubrey, is 13 for 13 in field goals. Notably, he has 7 from the 20 to 29-yard line kick and 4 from the 30 to 39. I would say those are the biggest ones when it comes to field goals because those are technically the ball is snapped, I believe, 7 yards back from the line of scrimmage to where the kicker kicks the ball. So notably, those can be more in the red zone, right? Can be caused by red zone failure is these kicks from these distances. But something interesting. So let's just, basically the Cowboys can't score in the red zone. They can't score a touchdown. I should say they are. If I'm going to share my screen here, they are the 30th team when it comes down to it. 30th out of 32 teams, 36.8% times they score in the red zone. Okay, they score a touchdown. Last year, 71.43%. Okay, that is huge. You want to know why? Because the 2 teams below them at 71 and 68, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, the 2 best teams in football last year, the ones who were in the Super Bowl. Okay, the best 2 teams. The Dallas had a better red zone offense for scoring touchdowns than those teams, okay? What's interesting now is that Dallas is at 30, okay? That's a big difference, and there's been hardly any moves, okay? So let's go to the problems now. So if we go to the problems, we know if you're a Cowboys fan, you know your offensive line has been hurt. They haven't had all 5 starters, okay, in all 4 games. There's been games where 1's missing, 2's missing, 3, okay? I think in the game they lost to the Cardinals, 3 of them were missing, so that's a big deal. When you're missing offensive linemen who are all pros and pro bowlers, okay, that's going to drastically affect your game. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2, you're missing a short yardage down back, okay? I know this is going to hurt to say, but you guys miss Zeke, okay? Zeke was good for 3 yards. Okay, I'm just going to pull up Zeke's stats from last year. Okay, ready to puke if you were a Tony Pollard owner last year. Okay, Zeke had 12 touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns. Okay, all 4 of them, or all 12 of them, sorry, were in the red zone. Okay, Zeke averaged his lowest yards per carry at 3.8 in his whole career, but the reason why was because he was used in the red zone. Okay, he was good for 3 yards. He was good for getting that first down in the red zone. He was good for scoring on the 1 to 3 yard line. Okay, that was his job, and he actually did it good. Regardless if you hated him for whatever reason, or if you're a Cowboys fan, you miss him. You miss him now for sure. Okay, because you don't have an Tony Pollard is just not that guy, and we know it. Okay. Zeke, you see 12 touchdowns in the red zone. So you're missing Zeke. You're missing a short yardage running back who scores in the red zone. Problem number 3. So I've been watching some of these breakdowns by other Cowboys pods, or just watching some plays. And from what I've heard for them, is that just certain play calls have been called are ones that are meant to block play. They're not meant to block players, so it's like a trickery play, right? So it's this isn't exactly the play, but I'm just going to give you an example of a trickery play. Okay, it's like a zone read where the quarterback either gives the ball to the running back, or keeps it, and he's reading the defensive end, right? So you're actually leaving that guy unblocked. Okay, you're leaving him unblocked, so you can either give the ball or keep the ball. So you're taking him out of the play. So there are plays that Cowboys have designed in the red zone to make a player unblocked. Okay. But I guess really these just haven't been working that well, because the guy who is not supposed to be in the play because he's unblocked is actually the one messing up the plays. So it's a combination of injuries, missing Zeke, okay, not executing in the red zone. Okay, but that's obvious. Every team doesn't always execute on plays. Plays don't always work how they're drawn up. Okay, this is just not how they are. Or 4, there's some bad play calls, or it's just the defense is just playing it very well and not playing it how they're expected. So I think it's a combination of all 4 or 5 of those things. Um, okay, let me throw another wrench into this thing. Dallas's defense has been really good. Okay. So Dallas, when your defense scores 3 touchdowns, okay, which is almost half of the amount of total touchdowns or it's close to a third amount of total touchdowns you have. Okay. So they have 11. Okay. 11 total touchdowns. 3 of them are from the defense. 3 divided by 11. What is that? Basically, it's close to a third. Okay. Close to a third of your touchdowns are from the defense. Daron Bland has more receiving touchdowns than any of your receivers or tight ends or running backs. Okay. He has 2 interception returns for a touchdown, 2 pick sixes. Okay. CeeDee Lamb has 1 touchdown catch. I think a tight end has a touchdown catch. I think a running back has 1 touchdown catch. So no one has more than 2 receiving touchdowns. Daron Bland is leading the Cowboys team in receiving touchdowns, and he doesn't even play offense. Okay. That is how down bad this Cowboys team is in the red zone. But what's interesting and what's nice about this is their defense is so good that they are keeping the score down in most of the games, and the defense is also producing points that the Cowboys are okay with kicking field goals in the red zone. So let's look at Brandon Aubrey's page. Let's look at Brandon Aubrey's page. He's a rookie out of Notre Dame. The Cowboys just got him. Let's look at his page. So Aubrey is, what is it? 12, 13 for 13 in field goals. 7 of those are 20 to 29. 4 of them is from 30 to 39. Okay. So the Cowboys are content with kicking field goals because their defense has been doing good. They've been putting themselves ahead in games. But it's going to come down to the point where the Cowboys defense isn't always going to be producing points or turnovers. Okay. They are going to need to convert touchdowns in the red zone. You can't just kick field goals. You can't be kicking field goals 65% of the time. You need to be scoring touchdowns. I mean, probably at league average where it's like 50%. Like you need to be there, okay, or better. If you want to be a top team, you want to be going to the Super Bowl, you want to be contending for it, you need to be scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Now, there's some light at the end of the tunnel, okay? In 2022, when the Cowboys finished with the highest red zone touchdown percentage at 71%, 71%. Okay, they started slow. The first 4 games were slow in red zone touchdown percentage. Okay, but it did get better as the season went on. They scored more touchdowns in the red zone. So I think there is going to be a progression to the mean, which means I don't think they're going to be at, what is it right now? Why did I lose it? They're not going to be at 37%. Okay. They're not going to be at 71 either, I don't think, because they think missing Zeke is a big percentage, like that's going to be missed. Okay. But I think they are going to be back up probably to the 50s. I hope. Okay. Because if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And honestly, doesn't really bother me if I'm wrong about the Cowboys, but I really think they're going to be better. Okay. But this is just a topic that I wanted to bring up because it's just something that I noticed without reading any articles. I'm just like, man, the Cowboys aren't kicking anything. And when Trent brought to my attention that Aubrey is maybe the best kicker to pick up because the Cowboys can't score in the red zone, you need to grab Aubrey, guys. If he's available in your league, you need to grab him because they're going to keep kicking field goals. And he also hasn't missed any. Okay. But all of his field goals have come within shorter yardages. Okay. He hasn't had to kick very many 50 plus. Okay. He's kicked 13 field goals and 11 of them have been within the 40-yard line. Okay. So you're getting consistent points from that kicker. So that's just something that's interesting from a fantasy perspective. You want to grab him. I think the Cowboys are too stubborn to get a short yardage running back, though. I think they're going to stick with Pollard, and maybe Pollard gets better. But if from a fantasy perspective, you probably don't want them to bring anyone in. But from the Cowboys' perspective, they probably want someone that can help them in the short yardage situations because they're not getting first downs in the red zone. Okay. That's why they're kicking field goals. They're not scoring touchdowns either because they aren't getting first downs. That's why they're kicking field goals. They're kicking field goals because their line's been hurt too. They can't convert. Plays aren't working as they designed them to be, right? Players also aren't executing, maybe because the backups. So this solo episode might have been painful for you to hear. It's probably going to be more painful for me to listen back to. Hopefully this doesn't end up getting deleted. Trent maybe post this to YouTube. Maybe it's just going to go up on wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. But yeah, I mean, check us out on TFF Dudes. Also, if you want to, we'll be posting some plays on social media on Twitter and Instagram. TFF Dudes, Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. We're going to be posting some plays from Sleeper and Underdog. Use our code for those to get some free money. I believe it's Dudes20 or Dudes100, depending on which one you use. I don't know which one. Try both of them. They'll both match you. Or it's not Dudes20. It's either Dudes or Dudes100. They'll match you up to $100. So it means you deposit 100, they're going to give you 100 to play with. So you'll have 200 in there. Anyways, thanks for joining me. I'm going to listen back to this. Hopefully I don't puke. Anyways, have a good day. Take care, guys.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.